Well, good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Chesley McNeil here with a team of folks helping you to navigate through the severe weather in our area right now. We do have very heavy rain. We've been seeing that heavy rain through the morning. Lightning strikes associated with it, meaning thunderstorms, of course, some gusty winds, and this yellow box right here indicates a severe thunderstorm warning that's currently in effect for parts of Paulding County. Northwestern portions of Cobb County and into Cherokee County as well. That is the southwest corner of Cherokee County. Very strong thunderstorms have been pushing through with winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. That's what we suspect is taking place right here. And we're looking at the National Weather Service, at least looking at rotation and some of these thunderstorm clouds as well, indicating that some of these are now starting to weaken a little bit. So we still have the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect. No tornado warnings out there right now, but it wouldn't be out of the question for us to see a brief spin up. And so that's what we've been watching for. You can see, and even some of this is being trimmed off as we speak, but you can see where that very heavy rain from Pine Log down through Carnesville extends all the way down into Powder Springs into Cobb County, southern parts of Cobb County. Kennesaw right now experiencing some really light rain. We do have a couple lightning strikes associated with this over toward the Roswell area and into Canton. Some heavy rain will be coming your way momentarily. And, of course, the winds will start to pick up as well. So be on the lookout for that. A little bit further over toward the east, you see over toward Commerce, down through Winder and Borough County. Also in Walton County, we do have some very heavy rain. There's a few lightning strikes associated with that as well. But meanwhile, Hall County, you're not seeing anything at all. So it's been a little off and on for you so far this morning. Traveling into work may get a little bit I guess, dicey at times because that rain comes down very heavy, of course, and your windshield wipers may not be able to get that all off your windshield. So take your time driving in, and we'll get a check on the roadways in just a minute. The heaviest rain so far this morning has been up to our far north. You can see where it's a little bit more widespread, where we have light to moderate rain. Over much of Gilmer County right now, we have that moderate rain. You can see from Ellijay extending eastward over Gilmer County, we do have that heavy rain coming down, or moderate rain coming down. Again, the heaviest rain a little bit further off toward our west. And some of these, again, packing those gusty winds. Now, the tornadoes so far have been over toward the west of us, over toward Alabama. And you can see even the lightning strikes have been very numerous, even seeing some right now here down to the south. That is a new severe thunderstorm warning that has popped up there. This red area that you see outlined indicates the counties that are under a tornado watch, which means that we are watching for the potential for tornadoes to pop up. Now, if we see any, they would be weak. All right, maybe short-lived, but they could cause some damage. Even some of those straight line winds could cause some damage. Here to tell us a little bit more about this watch is meteorologist Wes Perry. Hey, Wes.
Hey, Chesley. This tornado watch just got expanded literally within the last 5 minutes. It happened at 7 o'clock. It was just mainly for folks that were near 75 and near 20 into the west of that. It now includes pretty much everybody in the Atlanta metro area, maybe excluding just a few of the metro Atlanta counties to the north and to the west. But if you're watching us, I'm going to read all the counties here. Forsyth, Cherokee, Bartow, Polk, Paulding, Cobb, Gwinnett, DeKalb, Rockdale, Fulton, Douglas, Haralson, Carroll, Coweta, Fayette, Henry, Butts, Spalding, Hurd, Troop, Meriwether, Pike, Lamar, Upson, Monroe, and we still do have our two counties over in Alabama, Cleburne and Randolph. Everybody, if you just heard your county listed off, you are underneath a tornado watch until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And I really would not be too surprised if they actually expanded this tornado watch maybe down the road, maybe closer to 11 o'clock or so, to include more of central and now eastern Georgia. Some of the cities included in this: Marietta, Duluth, Atlanta, Peachtree City, Carrollton, LaGrange, and Thomaston. Of course, we're most worried about tornadoes because it is, after all, a tornado watch. If there are going to be tornadoes with this line of thunderstorms, they're going to be probably brief and they're going to be weak. It's an overall really low threat for strong tornadoes, which are considered EF2 or more, and a medium or moderate threat for damaging wind gusts, and a low threat for 74-mile-per-hour wind gusts or greater. Hail, really haven't seen a whole lot of hail associated with these storms. There were a few reports of hail out of Alabama. Haven't seen a whole lot here in Georgia. So a low threat for that. We're mainly just looking at more widespread damaging wind gusts, especially as we go into late morning this afternoon. So it's 7 o'clock right now. These storms are still mainly in the level 2 threat, which is yellow, striping generally near 85. And the heavier rainfall is now into level 1 area. They have not made their way into level 3. Once they get into level 3, I think they perk up a little bit more. They become more of a damaging wind gust threat and a tornado threat too. But I think the level 3 area is when the real danger for more widespread damaging wind gusts are going to come into the picture. And the bad news is it's just going to keep on raining in northern and northwest Georgia. So the worst of the storms in terms of wind gusts may be past northwest Georgia, but it's just going to continue to rain up there for probably the next, we'll say, 24 hours at the very most in places like Dalton, Blairsville, Clayton, up into Rome, Canton, and Gainesville, Chesley.
Yeah, those will be the winners as far as that rainfall goes. Speaking of rainfall, take a look now at our live camera out in Rome. You can see we're inundated with those showers out there. If you look at the lights, in fact, you can see those lights dripping where the rain continues to fall this morning. All right, once again, let's take a look at the radar because we do have that heavy rain, the severe thunderstorm warning that you see there on the screen for parts of Paulding County into, well, they're taking Paulding County out of it as it continues to push toward the east, but you see northern parts of Cobb County and into Cherokee County as well. This will be in effect until 7:15 this morning. You see right there on your screen. Again, for Bartow is also included in that as well until 7:15. We are looking at winds up to 60 miles per hour. And this particular system is moving about 55 miles per hour up to the north and east. So we'll continue to track that for you as we go along. I suspect more in the way of severe thunderstorms could pop up. But again, we are watching for the potential for tornadoes to pop up as well. An isolated tornado certainly wouldn't be out of the question. This whole system has a history of producing those, especially further back off the west. West even told us about even hail being produced by some of these thunderstorms. And so that continues to track over toward the east as well. Heavy rain up to the north. As you can see, the trend at least for that very heavy rain to be off to the west of us, cross the border, and then it weakens a little bit as it gets further up into the North Georgia mountains. So a lot of that orange that you see starts to disappear, and we get a lot of the widespread yellows, which is why we're very concerned about the flooding that will take place up here. So far, it has been scattered in nature once you make your way down toward Atlanta and southward, but you'll get into some of these heavy bouts of rain. So if you're leaving the house right now and you're getting ready to go out, of course, you'll be driving in and out of some heavy downpours, of course, and some frequent lightning strikes as well. But even in lightning subsiding as it pushes off toward the north and east. Again, this threat, as far as the severe weather goes, is going to be with us for much of the day. It started through the overnight, of course. It's going to last at least for North Georgia, at least through about 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon before things begin to push down into that level 3 area that Wes was telling you about. That's just south and east of the city of Atlanta, where we have that enhanced risk for severe weather. And I think when we get into the daytime heating, of course, that's going to add to some of the instability down there and could fire up a few more of these thunderstorms. In fact, as we were taking a look at our forecast track model, we saw how the main line, along with that front that's still a little bit further out to the west of us, as that begins to move through, it will come through broken a little bit and then formalize a little bit, go get better organized as it moves to the east of the city and then push further down to the south. And again, this rain will be with us right on through the afternoon. I'm thinking around 3 o'clock or so. That's when we start to see it subside a little bit. We'll get rid of the widespread showers and start to get into more of the isolated showers around. Now, the rain will stick around at least through Friday morning. And we'll be watching some cold air eviction happen, or it means cold air pushing in behind the front, which means that any moisture that's left around, well, could freeze over a little bit and fall as snow. We're thinking that will be mainly up in the North Georgia mountains in the higher elevations, of course, and we'll keep you updated on that if anything happens to accumulate there. But for today, and at least for this morning in the early afternoon, we'll be watching for the potential for the severe weather. Right now, the only warning that we have in place is the severe thunderstorm warning that's over parts of Cherokee County, Cobb County, and into Bartow County, extreme southeastern portion of Bartow County right now, where you see this very heavy rain coming down. The National Weather Service put this out and said a possible tornado could be with it, which means that they're seeing some rotation in some of the storms that are out there at least. So it's something that has to be monitored just in case we get some tight rotation and a tornado happens to be touching around. Of course, we do have spotters out there. We do have weather watchers as well. If you happen to see anything in your area, or you just happen to catch some of this heavy rain or some of the lightning out there and you're able to do so safely, go ahead and do that for us. And then you can go to our Facebook page, our 11 Live Storm Tracker Facebook page, download that or upload that rather, and send it to us, and we'll get those on the air as well. Appreciate you doing that. But again, do so on the safe side. We want to get a check on the roads out there. Crash Clark has been monitoring the roads. Numerous accidents and delays because of the rain, even at the airport this morning, Crash.
Yeah, we started out at 4:30 actually with Wake Up with Chesley, and we had a red alert out on the roadways, and it's been one red alert after another. We'll talk about those airport delays too, because they're talking about a 30-minute, not a full ground stop, but 30-minute delays for incoming and outgoing flights. So certainly something you want to check into if you're heading out to Hartsfield-Jackson. Some good news out here on the East Expressway. Well, it's a little bit of good news. Those brake lights you see there, we've been monitoring this all morning long with a tree and a wreck and this has been a mess. It's I-20. We're talking westbound near Evans Mill. They still have part of that right lane blocked, and that's what's been causing this gridlock for folks in from Conyers. In fact, we've been talking about that gridlock. Let me get back to that. We've been talking about that gridlock being an hour and 30 minutes from Turner Hill to 285. Obviously, once you get by Evans Mill, you're going to get a vastly improved road from Panola, Wesley Chapel, and 285. Inside 285, we've had some problems with a spin out I-20 westbound near Candler Road. That's the second one we've had at that location. Some good news here. 85 northbound, this earlier wreck at Sylvan Road, they finally cleared this off to the right. There was some guardrail damage. They had a right lane blocked forever and a day, but that's going to jam you back towards the airport, trying to make your way in from that south side, and that's where we were talking about the airport with those delays, those 30-minute delays. So definitely, if you're flying in, you're picking somebody up, make sure you check with your carrier because you're going to need to know that too. All right, now getting to the airport, a lot of folks like to use that west side perimeter. Things have improved there as well. The wreck 285 northbound at Bolton Road pretty much gone. They're doing the paperwork off to the side, so all your travel lanes are back open. So things were improving a little bit until we threw another wreck at you. This is right behind it on 285 northbound before I-20, and that's keeping you slow back towards almost Camp Creek there. So watch out on that west wall as you continue to make your way up. We'll call it anywhere from 166 Camp Creek and I-20. Now, the West Expressway, earlier troubles inbound near Six Flags and Riverside Parkway. Both of those cleared out of the way, but certainly you took a little bit of a 1-2 punch there for folks in from Deville. Veterans Memorial Highway, still a good alternate for you, but things are starting to thin out a little bit. All right, that's a wreck on 400 southbound before you get to I-285. Was blocking up the left lane there. The good news is they have cleared that one out of the way, but now you got to think about that 400 volume. We know what 400 does early in the morning, especially after 7 o'clock. You can see trip times up to an hour from Windward Parkway to 285. Right now, we're looking at 41 minutes. So Alpharetta, Roswell, big heads up there. Folks in from Cumming, you had earlier problems on 400 southbound with a wreck at Windward Parkway. That also has been cleared out of the way. What's been interesting is to watch 75 out of Cobb County. It's remained condition green for most of the morning. I think we could thank those express lanes. GDOT, wow, that is a miracle, both on 575 and 75. Now, we did have some trouble on 75 northbound up near Barrett Parkway. Brief stoppage of traffic there. That's all been remedied, cleared out of the way. Look at that, 15 minutes from Barrett Parkway to 285 on a rainy day like today. You would not have seen traffic like that before those express lanes. 75 would have been condition red. So I know we complain about all the construction that GDOT's doing, the big restoration project on 400 and 285, and they're going to be building express lanes across the top end perimeter in both directions. Of course, that's years down the road, but it's a necessity because we see that it works on 75. So just take a deep breath and enjoy the construction like I do. Well, I'm a traffic nerd. 17 minutes if your 85 commute takes you from 316 down to 285 out of Gwinnett County. That's not bad at all. They started out with some earlier problems on 85 South right around Beaveroon and Indian Trail, but those have also been cleared out of the way. One more look here showing that East Expressway. This is I-20 inbound from Conyers. We are seeing a little bit of movement, but again, as you get a little closer towards Evans Mill and Panola, you're going to start to thicken up again. So the good news is they're starting to clear that out of the way, that tree that was in the road on I-20 westbound right near Evans Mill. So a little bit of good news. And if you look to the north, look at 285 eastbound from 75 over to Georgia 400. That's normally a jammed up ride, but because the west wall has been in so much trouble, folks got a little bit of a break traveling from Vinings into Sandy Springs. In fact, you're conditioned green there. Now the east side perimeter, 285 northbound, pretty standard stuff from I-20 through the Stone Mountain Freeway. Stone Mountain Freeway, not that bad either, in from Snellville. So things are starting to calm down a little bit on the roads, but of course we've got plenty of volume to think about. And of course our tree down on 20 westbound at Evans Mill. Got to get this thing out of the way. All right, well, when we get days like today, you don't see a chopper in the air. They're not going to fly with those raindrops out there, but we have one of the best assets in the business, and that is the 11 Alive Thunder truck. Nick Sturdivant's been live. You've seen the wrecks, you've seen the rain, and you continue to roll around, my friend. Be safe. Where are you? What you looking at?
Hey, good morning, Crash. And as you mentioned, we've been in the Thunder truck all morning. Right now, we're on 285 North. And traffic has been a complete nightmare all morning, as you mentioned, from 20 to 285 that we're on right now to the connector, both the southbound lanes and northbound lanes. And the traffic has kind of come in waves. Right now, we're stuck in a little bit of that traffic. I think a residual from that Hollowell crash from earlier, as our photographer Stephen Boise pointed out to me. And again, let me flip around the camera. What drivers need to be aware of are these wet roads, and that's what's been the problem all morning as far as these accidents. And we haven't seen that heavy rain here in a while. Right now, you see a little bit of that drizzle. You see lightning. We saw lightning throughout the morning. Every few minutes, and again, there were crashes on the connector. At one point, there were 2 crashes, one on the southbound lane, one on the northbound lane, and the DOT crews had their hands full. And at one point, both lanes were shut down, and we were stuck right there in the middle of it. It took us maybe 15 minutes just to get from, move a few feet away from where we were at one point. And if you know anything about this area, you know on a dry morning, it's busy on the roads, especially in the morning, but you add rain, you add moisture, and it gets a lot busier. So make sure you take your time on the roads. And in preparation for this, the City of Atlanta Department of Watershed Management spent the day yesterday inspecting and clearing the drainage system in flood-prone areas. We caught up with them yesterday. Crews were checking out hot spots, and the city spill response teams are on standby along with other crews. But again, as you can see it right now, this is what we're stuck in. We're on 285 northbound. That rain is starting to pick up. We've seen lightning. We've seen it all this morning, and it's been a very busy morning. I want to toss it over to Liza Lucas, who is in our newsroom checking things out, and it has more on what's going on out there. Liza?
Thanks, Nick. Stay safe out there. We here at the 11 Alive Bridge have been following all of the updates. That includes from police, from school, from the airport. So we're going to break down some of the new information that we have for you as of a few minutes ago. Now, we've learned that Georgia Northwestern Technical College, they too will be operating on a delay this morning. All of those campuses will delay opening until 10 a.m. due to potentially dangerous road conditions in the area. Of course, that is in addition to those that we have already told you about. Catoosa, Dade, Murray, and Walker counties are also on a 2-hour delay due to severe weather conditions in those areas. So we're going to stay on top of it here at the 11 Alive Bridge. We also have a full story on 11alive.com where you can follow the minute-to-minute updates. We also, you can see, have the app right there where you can also download and get alerts straight to your phone. And guys, we're going to continue. We've got some more coverage for you we can share. But in the meantime, we're going to turn it over to Chesley.
All right, thanks a lot, Liza. Take a look at our live weather cam up here in Rome. You can see we're inundated with the rain there. Roadway's still wet. Notice now this is a flagpole here. Notice the wind's not blowing all that heavy right now. At the current time, some light rain just coming through the Rome area, but we've had at least some very heavy rain pushing through that area. And as we had those thunderstorms roll through, here's Rome right here, that's when those winds had begun to pick up. Now, I suspect with this next little heavy batch of rain coming through, the winds will start to pick up a little bit with that, but nothing severe right now as that continues to push further off to the north. Had numerous lightning strikes, as you can see, back off to the west of us, but as it continued to push further into the state, the lightning strikes have begun to subside. Now, we do have pockets, at least, of some of that heavy rain and the lightning strikes continuing throughout the area, but as this system continues to push further off to the north, it loses some of its strength, and you can see where we just have that light green into the yellow, which indicates some light rain to moderate rain coming down, but we still have some very heavy rain coming down. Not long ago, this area right here was under a severe thunderstorm warning that has been allowed to expire by the National Weather Service as the winds associated with some of these thunderstorms are starting to subside a little bit. And I think as it continues to push up toward the north and east, that will continue to be the case. But right now, very heavy rain coming down, as you can see in parts of Gordon County, down into parts of Cherokee County. If you are anywhere near I-575 north of Canton Road, get ready for some heavy rain as you get on the roads and travel down I-575 heading into the city. Very heavy rain coming down. I suspect that folks were taking their time. This crash was showing us just not long ago. Another area of heavy rain that's in northern parts of Dawson County. You can see over here toward Juneau, a couple of lightning strikes associated with that there. Over toward the east and near Commerce. This is Jackson County right here. You can see where we have some very heavy rain. Always concerned when I start to see a little bit of bending taking place there, but again, I think the wind's right there below severe criteria right now, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. And no severe weather over here into parts of Banks County where we have a couple lightning strikes there. A little bit further down to the south over Barrow County as well. You see near Bethlehem, we have some very heavy rain coming down. Gwinnett, your rain is starting to subside just a little bit, but more heavy rain is on the way, as you can see. Just to the west of Atlanta, on the west side of western portions of the perimeter, got some very heavy rain coming down, a couple lightning strikes associated with that. And then further off to the west over toward Carroll County, a place that we have been concerned about as well for some severe weather to take place. We've been watching this particular area here. Now, notice a little bit further to the west, right? We are looking at numerous lightning strikes off to the west of us. Yeah, as you can see over toward Alabama, notice all those lightning strikes. That has been the case. I've been tracking this since this morning when I first came in. That has been the case over in Alabama really all morning long. And a lot of this begins to subside as it crosses the border heading up toward us. Keep in mind that we are a higher elevation than parts of Birmingham and parts of Alabama. So that may help in the weakening of some of these storms as they continue to push off toward the west. Still have the threat, though. The threat is there for severe weather for this morning and into early afternoon for all of North Georgia, even though, as you look at this red line here, it's within this red line that we're looking at the potential for tornadoes. That is a tornado watch area there. And here to tell us a little bit more about that is meteorologist Wes Perry. Wes?
Yeah, we'll go over the tornado watches first, and then starting to get concerned about something else that is probably going to affect more people than what the tornado watches will. So we'll start with tornado watch in effect till 1 o'clock. And over the next 30 minutes, we've seen an expansion of this tornado watch. Now it includes nearly all of metro Atlanta, minus a few of the counties to the east and to the north. So Bartow, Cherokee, Forsyth, Gwinnett, Fulton, Cobb, Paulding, Polk, Haralson, Carroll, Douglas, Clayton, Rockdale, DeKalb, Henry, Fayette, Coweta, Troup, Meriwether, Spalding, Butts, Pike, Lamar, Upson, Monroe, and Georgia, and then Cleburne and Randolph County and Alabama. This goes until 1 o'clock this afternoon. So we have another 6 hours, a little less than 6 hours to go for this tornado watch. You can see the little line right here that just includes Peachtree City, north of Peachtree City. As we go north of that, that was the new area of the tornado watches that just got added at 7 o'clock. So, of course, we're mainly worried about tornadoes. There's a medium or a moderate threat for tornadoes within this tornado watch. A low threat for EF2 or greater tornadoes. That's what's characterized as a strong tornado. If we get a tornado with this system, it's going to be weak and it's probably going to be rather brief, like less than 5 minutes. If you remember about a month ago, in mid-January, we had a big line of thunderstorms comes through. We ended up getting several confirmed tornadoes within them. I think maybe 3 in our area. Well, 2 out of those 3 lasted about 2 minutes or less. So we're watching that threat for tornadoes as well. Chesley, we're going to go back over to you now.
Yeah, we're getting ready to do a cut-in. So we're going to continue our coverage right here, but we're also going to do cut-ins also on the air on our 11 Live station. So bear with us, folks. We're going to break for now. I'm going to do a cut-in, and then we'll be right back with continuous coverage of the latest weather that's happening outside for this morning. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Chesley McNeil. We're continuing to watch for the severe weather threat that we have out there this morning. No warnings in our area right now. No warnings. We do have a watch, and it's running right there at the bottom of the screen. That means the tornado watch is in effect for the potential for tornadoes to pop up in our area. We've had so far a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. You can see the numerous lightning strikes, especially back off to the west of us as they move further in, start to weaken just a little bit. Very heavy rain coming down. You can see now in parts of Pickens County and also into parts of Cherokee County as well, also extending back to the west over Paulding County and down into Carroll County. We do have some bouts of heavy rain. We'll continue to monitor this and continue to track this system. We got a cold front that's back off to the west. It's not until that cold front passes us that our threat for the severe weather will begin to subside. There is an enhanced risk for severe weather just to the south and east of the city of Atlanta. That is where we suspect it'll be a bit more favorable later on this afternoon. But expect this heavy rain to be with us off and on through at least 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. Crash Clark has a look at the roadways out there.
Yeah, it's been one red alert after another, my friend. The rain wreaking havoc on the roadways, and still we just cleaned up a stall. We just now reopened opened all these lanes on I-20. This is westbound near Columbia Drive, just inside the perimeter on the East Expressway. But it has been a nightmare on the East Expressway outside the perimeter as they clear a tree 20 westbound at Evans Mill that was blocking a right lane for well over 2 hours. We're still looking at major delays from Conyers all the way to 285. Good news, the wreck cleared 85 northbound at Sylvan Road, but you're jammed back to the airport. And remember, we hear about a 30-minute delay in flights coming in and out of Hartsfield, so make sure you check with your carrier. 285 northbound, earlier trouble before I-20. That's cleared up, but look at those delays back towards Camp Creek on the west wall. The big three, surprisingly, only Georgia 400 in rough shape with an earlier wreck at Abernathy, kind of jamming your ride out of Alpharetta and Roswell as we look again at I-20, just cleared a problem inbound near Columbia. For these stories and more, make sure you download the new 11 Alive app.
All right, welcome back. We are continuing our severe weather coverage threat. You're looking at our Circle 75 office cam high up on the mountains there, on the top of a building there, and you can see where visibility is not that great. 75 is right here. Maybe you can see some of those cars moving right there, but very heavy rain coming down. Wes Perry, meteorologist Wes Perry here with me in the office and panning around just to see if we can see anything. That's where they have the clover leaf right here. That's 285 coming toward us, but really can't see that high up with the camera. All right. If you want to switch to another camera, maybe we can see a little bit more clearly. Or there you go. You're moving down toward the highway there. But yeah, so conditions not great for at least driving around. This is Noonan, our camera in Noonan. You can see it's wet there as well. Look at the winds associated with some of these thunderstorms that are moving into the area as well. So it's a bit breezy out there, and I suspect those winds will stay with us at least through this afternoon until that cold front passes our area. This is up in Gwinnett County right now. You can see where it's very wet as well. The highway back there beyond those trees the trees here, so you can see where, everyone having to deal with this weather. Now, not everyone seeing heavy rain. As we take a look at the radar, it does show, there we go, we have areas where it is dry. In fact, once you make your way down toward Atlanta, it starts to become a little bit more scattered as far as the precipitation goes. Very widespread up here to the north, and this is where we've been seeing that very heavy rain so far this morning. It has been steady pretty much through the morning and very widespread. Again, once you make your way further down to the south is where we've been seeing it become a little bit more sparse. Now, we had numerous lightning strikes associated with this cell here, had a severe thunderstorm warning on this as well, but right now, just an area of heavy rain coming down. Places like Dawson County, so Juneau included in that. Down here toward Cherokee County, you see Canton, right where 575, I-575 begins, very heavy rain coming down as you're driving down into the city. A long stretch of that right now, very heavy as well. Over toward Cartersville, it's moderate. For example, along I-75 coming into the city, it has been moderate. Over toward the east as well, this is I-85, and you can see where we have some very heavy rain extending down through Jefferson. That extends into northern parts of Gwinnett County as well. No warnings, again, no warnings associated with it, but we do have areas of lightning, and so it makes for it to be a difficult commute for us. Okay, we'll continue to watch that as well. The flood watch remains in effect through Friday morning, of course, as the heavy rain continues to move through, and we'll have, again, bouts of this as we continue through the morning. Unfortunately, this is going to be with us right on through early afternoon. So you're talking, I'd say at 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we're still going to be dealing with bouts of heavy rain. And as we march into the afternoon, some of that daytime heating will start to influence some of the instability as well. And so some of this rain will start to amp up once again, and some of the threats for tornadoes will start to amp up as well. In fact, this is a watch box right here where you see the red line that indicates all the counties that are included in that watch area as far as tornadoes. That means that we're watching for the potential for tornadoes. So far, we've had a tornado warning in our far westernmost counties over into Alabama, but once they crossed the border, of course, that began to subside just a little bit. We had severe thunderstorm warnings that have been popping up throughout our metro area as well, and so we'll be watching that. Now, notice what's happening back off to the west of us. Notice those numerous lightning strikes over toward Anniston. Look at this, numerous lightning strikes, and we've been seeing this pretty much all morning long. And look even further back off to the west, you got another cluster of thunderstorms producing some very numerous lightning strikes as well. Now the trajectory of this, now the front itself is still back off to the west, but the trajectory of this is making its way from the southwest to the northeast. All right, as it begins to move eastward. And so a lot of this that you see off to the west of us will be affecting, as far as heavy rain goes, our northernmost county. So you're still talking about flooding taking place. There's still a lot of moisture out ahead of the front that's moving in our direction. So thunderstorms will continue to pop up ahead of this. We'll see those spotty thunderstorms, I think, down here to the south, but that is the place where we could see the potential or greater potential for those tornadoes, brief tornadoes to spin up. Wes Berry is going to tell us a little bit more. Let's toss over to him.
It is wet outside, to say the least, but especially northwest Georgia. We could just call it the 85 corridor north. It's been raining here for a while. It's going to continue to rain here for a very long time. And I've been watching some of these rainfall rates making their way out of Alabama and into here, Georgia. I mean, look at this big cluster of lightning strikes here just south of Oxford. That gives you an indication that the rain is extremely heavy. It's coming down very, very hard. This is what some of the rainfall amounts have been just in the last 6 hours. So we correspond these darker greens. This is 2 inches of rainfall in the last 6 hours. Even some spots down here that kind of parallel 85, just off to the west side of Atlanta, closer to Carrollton and Bremen. That's where there's 2 inches of rainfall in spots generally north of 85, where there's between an inch or two. In fact, enough rainfall up there in northwest Georgia to the fact that they have already issued an aerial flood warning until 1:30. This is for Chattooga, Floyd, Gordon, Walker, and Whitfield counties. And it's only going to continue to rain even more for about the next, let's say, 12 hours in earnest for the heaviest rainfall. So even though there's an aerial flood warning, which just means better coverage of flooding is occurring or will be occurring soon, so there's a little northwest corner right here, they're probably going to begin to fill in more aerial flood warnings to the south, closer to the Atlanta metro area, closer to Murrayville, because the rainfall rates coming out of here, coming south of Oxford, Maplesville, Alabama, Alexander City, especially with this little burst of lightning is here, that's about 1 to 3 inches per hour. So you line that up and it's headed right towards 575. Interstates, urban areas in general, interstates, highways, neighborhood roads are going to begin to flood if they haven't started to flood already late this morning into early this afternoon. So hopefully what the city of Atlanta did, I hope a lot of other cities did it, and that's they cleared out these culverts, they cleared out these drains so that at least the roads and the interstates could drain efficiently. But of course, all of that is going to run into creeks and streams, which then run into every other body of water. And so that's part of the reason why they put this flood and flash flood watch in effect for, I mean, nearly everybody in the state of Georgia. Now everybody in North Georgia has been added to this. And these little darker greens, Rabun and Habersham County, that's a flash flood warning. Flood warning for this little piece right here. So the roads and interstates will begin to flood. Some of the creeks and streams have already begun to rise. Big Creek in Alpharetta is underneath the flood warning. And then the mountains, which have seen some of the heaviest rainfall, they have already seen those flash flood warnings. That's what's going on in Habersham and in Rabun counties. This is in effect until 7 a.m. Friday. So literally another 24 hours of flooding is possible before we're able to totally get rid of the system. And on top of the flash flooding, we're still worried about those other forms of severe weather in terms of damaging wind gusts and tornadoes, Chesley.
Yeah, even after the rain subsides, we'll still be seeing flooding from runoff. And so, yeah, that's going to be a mess even after that. And so the Storm Prediction Center has placed an enhanced risk for severe weather. Now, that's a 3 out of a possible 5 for a large area. You can see much of our state, central Georgia into southern Georgia, included in that, plus much of South Carolina and into North Carolina as well. That sliver of yellow indicates a slight risk for severe weather. That's a 2 out of a possible 5. That includes, let's say, southern parts of Hall County, all the way down through Fulton County over toward over into Coweta County, into Carroll County. That includes the city of Atlanta. So that's, again, a level 2 out of a possible 5. And then further off to North Georgia, you're looking at level 1 for Rome, places like in Gilmer County, Blairsville, further up to Hiawassee, over toward Rabun County as well. And so we have a marginal risk there. And so this will be with us, again, through the rest of the afternoon. Here's the timing that we're expecting. Our forecast track model times it out beautifully for us, shows the pockets of heavy rain that we have around this morning. Now, again, that front is still back off to the west of us, and that will continue to advance over toward the east. You can see that heavy rain continuing. We'll have rounds of it. This is by 11 o'clock over toward the Rome, Georgia area. The line along or just ahead of the front, not well organized, but it does get organized, or a little better organized, once it gets to the east of the city of Atlanta, which is why once this moves to the south and east, we're expecting that it moves into that enhanced risk area there, where we'll start to see more of those tornadoes possibly begin to fire up. Now, once we get past 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, most of the heavy rain, or much of the heavy rain, will be over toward the east of us. We're left with the clouds, and some spotty showers will continue. That's going to continue right on into the evening as well. Behind this front, we're expecting colder air to move in, what we call cold air advection, or cold air pushing in behind the front. And so we can see those temperatures begin to drop. And our concern would be up here in the North Georgia mountains as the temperatures drop and fall through the overnight, any lingering moisture around. Now, the question will be how much moisture is left over as some drier air will start to try to push in. How much moisture is left over? And if we have the temperatures dropping down below the freezing mark, of course, we could see this begin to fall in the form of snow. I think that's going to be likely the case up in, if we have available moisture, likely up in the higher elevations of the North Georgia mountains, where it could accumulate. Not too much, but could be some small accumulation up there to the north. Of course, we'll keep you updated on that, because I know for some of you school teachers up there to the north, you'll be looking for that. Notice the drier air works in, and so we'll begin to see that begin to subside. I think we'll get some brief sunshine early on Saturday morning before the next system rolls in here and bring some more heavy rain. Look at our accumulations. Now, we've had the rain since yesterday, all right? And so another maybe a half inch to an inch, maybe 2 inches, especially up here to the far north, additional rainfall certainly is possible. So when Wes talking about that flash flood watch that we have in place, you'll notice an additional 2 to 5 inches possible through the entire system of the rain moving through. But again, flooding can continue to be the case even after that rain begins to subside. So anywhere from moderate or minor to moderate flooding will be the case as we head further in to the rest of the week and into the weekend as well. Speaking of which, our 7-day outlook shows we'll have a 100% chance for the rain. We got it out there right now. All right, we're going to see a 20% chance for that rain, mainly in the morning on Friday. But notice the temperatures really cool down behind the front. 30% chance for that next disturbance moving through the area quickly on Saturday. And then by Sunday, things look a little bit better. We're looking at a 60% chance for some of that rain to be around with a 10 on the wazometer. So for Sunday will be the best day of the weekend. All right, Liza Lucas is standing by. We're looking at the delays at the airport.
That's right, and we're going to give you a live look right now at Hartsfield-Jackson as we monitor the latest delays coming in. We're here at 11alive.com. The FAA reporting at last check the average delay of 36 minutes right there. So a heads up, if you or loved ones are planning to fly today, again, a 36-minute delay. That's according to the FAA. You can see there are some planes rolling along right there. Meanwhile, the misery map, the overall delays cross country are starting to tick up by the minute. That's for sure. We have more than 200 delays across the country right now. You can see Atlanta is certainly feeling it right there when we pop up ATL in the middle of that weather system happening online. Okay, and now we want to move into some of the pictures that we've also been doing, because a lot of people have been keeping their eyes open, helping us keep an eye on different parts of the metro, and that includes our storm trackers. This is a look at Oglethorpe Mountain, which I understand from Leah, one of our 11 Alive storm trackers, normally has dotted homes lit up along the mountains. Well, you can see that is not the case this morning. She says it's an eerie look. You can head over to our 11 Alive storm trackers page. We're talking to you this morning, or you can also text us as well. Another look coming in from Leah in Woodstock, where she is reporting heavy rain. I'm hearing heavy rain right now here at the 11 Alive studio. It's really coming down in our area as well. And Leah also saying that she is seeing a pickup in the wind gust. So thank you for being our eyes and ears. Another picture right here, this one from Sophia in Kennesaw. It's a little dark. It was taken a little earlier this morning, but you can continue to send those in throughout the morning if you're able to safely take a picture or video, or even just let us know what conditions you're experiencing in your area. We have an easy way to do that if you're not a member of the Storm Trackers, though we encourage you to be. You can also text us, that 404-873-9114 number. We will text you back. We are monitoring that throughout the morning as well as we continue this coverage. And again, we do have some delays to go over, and that includes Georgia Northwestern Technical College. They are delaying opening until 10 a.m. today due to potential dangerous road conditions. We also have full stories up on 11alive.com where you can stay up to date on the very latest. Our app, you can get those push alerts too. But we're continuing to monitor those pictures. We want to see what you are experiencing in your area. Again, if you are able to safely take a picture or video, We would love to have that information. We will continue to share it throughout our many platforms here. And in the meantime, I'm going to check in with Nick, who's on the road in the 11 Alive storm truck.
Hey, Eliza, I heard you mention that you guys are getting pounded there in Atlanta with that rain. A few minutes ago, we were getting pounded by rain, but that rain has since subsided within the last few minutes. Right now, we are on 75 northbound in Cobb County. I'm gonna flip the camera around so you can see what we're looking at on the roads. And one thing that we noticed is some light ponding. Again, that rain, that heavy rain, we haven't seen it in the last few minutes, but we're getting some of that light rain. We were stuck in a little bit of that traffic here on 75. Well, we just got on 75, on 285 rather, a little earlier. You see right there. That's what you have to deal with with this rain. And if you're out on the roads commuting to work, at one point this morning, we were on the connector, and the connector was so messy this morning. I mean, you had two crashes, one on the southbound lane, one on the northbound lane, and DOT crews had their hands full. If you know anything about this area, on a dry morning, it's busy. You mix in the rain, you mix in the moisture, it gets even busier. And in preparation for this heavy rain, the City of Atlanta Department of Watershed Management spent the day yesterday inspecting and clearing the drainage system and flood-prone areas. We caught up with them yesterday. They were checking out the hot spots. They have crews and teams on standby right now, but as you see, this is a live look of the roads right now on 75 northbound. We're headed towards the Kennesaw area as that severe weather rolls in. And again, we've seen some of that light ponding on the roads. Right now it's clear for us, but head southbound on 75. Traffic, I'm gonna flip the camera around again. I don't know if you can see in that opposite lane where you could see a little bit of that traffic jam. We don't know if that's due to a crash or if that's just regular Metro Atlanta traffic on a weekday morning. But again, we're taking a look at the roads. We're checking out things here, and I'm going to send it over to Crash Clark. And as Chesley McNeil likes to say, Crash Clark, how's my ride?
The ride is not good, my friend. And as you know firsthand, and you know what? Nick mentioned it, Chesley and Wes just mentioned it, even Liza mentioned it as far as the ponding and the water on the roads. And now we are getting confirmation from GDOT about ponding on several major interstates. I'm going to get to that. I want to show you what these conditions are like. If you're just looking outside right here, look at the thunder truck, or this is not the thunder truck, this is one of our Sky Tracker cameras on the west side perimeter. It has been an absolute disaster on the west side perimeter, traveling anywhere from 166 Camp Creek up towards I-20, past Bolton Road and beyond, getting into Vinings. Just look how dark the skies are. The rain continues to pour down, and of course the conditions just keep getting worse, and the volume continues to grow. Not as many wrecks to look at right now, but again, here's some of those flooding spots, and perhaps when Nick and the Thunder Truck, when they're done heading northbound up to Kennesaw, they can turn it around southbound, because we're getting reports as high up on 75 near Canton Road, the Canton Road connector flooding, 75 south near Windy Hill. That's an area we've seen a lot. Also 285 eastbound right near I-75, 285 east near Powers Ferry, and across the top end perimeter, even over to Riverside Drive. Now, a lot of the express lanes that help 75 are seeing some flooding as well. So a little unusual there, but a lot of folks are starting to feel all this rain. And we knew that was going to be the situation, as Chesley's been telling us all week long, that when this rain did hit, it was going to be an enormous amount of water falling. And again, as Liza mentioned, we can hear it on the roof right here at 11 Alive in Midtown. So more of these ponding and flooding areas reported along the west side perimeter on 285 north and southbound up towards Vinings, near I-20, a little bit further down towards Camp Creek, even a little bit further towards the city on I-20 as you make your way into the downtown area. Now, this is one spot, if you remember, a few weeks ago, we had a major rainstorm and it just came down all at once, and there was huge flooding across the top end. 285 westbound, they basically shut down 3 to 4 lanes near Ashford Dunwoody. Now, we're not getting reports of that yet, but I want to give you a heads up. This is the area of all the major construction on 285 and 400, the big restoration project. They're doing a lot of excavating out there, so there's a lot of this mud flood. They're going to get that roll off from this water, and then that water starts accumulating. You get that orange clay water that you have to drive through, not just on 400 north and southbound near the perimeter and Hammond Drive and Abernathy, but across the top end in both directions. So we are certainly going to monitor this entire area where this major construction project is going on. Obviously, nothing happening out there as far as work right now while these heavy storms blow through here, but we have got to keep an eye on this because we are definitely going to see some ponding and some flooding out there as things progress. Connector northbound, still just seeing some volume from 166 on up through Midtown. Finally getting some relief here on the East Expressway. They cleared the tree 20 westbound at Evans Mill. That's gone. Still 40 minutes from 138 in Conyers to I-285. But folks, just watch out for all these conditions out here. Still not good for the rush hour. All right, for these stories and more, make sure you download that new 11 Alive app. It is free, and it's going to give you all those weather updates and traffic updates. We're going to be here with you all morning long. Chesley and West Peary still in the Weather Center. Guys, I know you got a lot to monitor.
Yeah, severe thunderstorm warning has popped up now coming out of the DeKalb County, really. You can see this polygon here, looking at lasting until about 8:15 this morning. So some very heavy rain associated with this, but the winds are the major concern, of course. Winds up to about 60 miles per hour. Maybe some weak rotation in some of these cells as well. So we'll continue to monitor this as we go along. But right now over toward the Berkeley Lake area, heading into Gwinnett County. So Lawrenceville is certainly under the gun with this as well. If it continues to hold together, we'll head up toward Flowery Branch to Hall County as well. But again, the winds is what we're concerned about. And so be on the lookout if you're in this particular area, coming out of Sandy Springs, let's say, out of North Fulton County into northern parts of DeKalb County and into Gwinnett County. You have to be on the lookout for some very strong thunderstorms that are pushing through your area. This is right along I-985 and parts of I-85 as well, under that as well, as it continues to push further off toward the north and east. Your rain right now in Lawrenceville is not very heavy, of course, and you're not probably hearing any thunder, seeing any lightning strikes. Same in Snellville, you're not seeing any, but this will be upon you probably within the next, I'd say 10 to 15 minutes. You'll start to experience some of that heavy rain, and your winds will start to pick up, and it's the winds that we're more concerned about with some of these severe thunderstorms that have been popping up throughout our area. You'll get little bouts of heavy rain around the area. National Weather Service triggering some of these severe thunderstorm warnings that we've had. You see that very heavy rain up here toward the Murrayville area as well. This extends all the way back into northern parts of Cobb County, into parts of Paulding County as well. Got a couple lightning strikes here. But then look back a little further to the west. Notice that big cluster of thunderstorms. This is over across the border into Alabama, and really paying attention to this area here. Now, there's no warnings associated with this right now, but as it continues to push further off toward the north and east, we're going to continue to watch that. It's this area that we are very concerned about. And Wes, you've been looking at this area for the potential for tornadoes. Want to talk a little bit more about that?
Just a special statement put out by the National Weather Service that this little area right here, it does include the city of Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, Peachtree City, Bremen down to LaGrange and into Alabama as well. This area right here, from now for the next several hours, as storms continue to make their way out of Alabama, through Georgia, through Metro Atlanta, there's an extra concern that these storms will begin to produce tornadoes. There's a better chance that they will produce tornadoes. So if you're at work watching us, if you're on your way to work, just know from now for the next several hours, there's a better chance that we'll start to get some tornado warnings issued. So if you're at home, if you're at work, you need to know where you should be going in case a tornado warning is issued. If you're at home, that's the most interior place in your home. That's a closet, that's a bathroom, that's a basement. If you're in a mobile home, evacuate your mobile home. You're trying to get as many walls, as much barrier between you and flying debris as possible. If you're at work, there's probably already designated tornado safe places. So maybe you should ask people at work, people in charge that know more about the building, where those designated tornado safe places would be. That's probably the bathroom, it's probably an interior hallway, a stairwell, or maybe a basement if you do have those. So just know from now for the next several hours, there's a better chance that tornado warnings will be issued for Atlanta, for the perimeter, inside and outside of it, Peachtree City, down to LaGrange and Hamilton, and for a lot of the south side and for the western side of Metro Atlanta. And on top of that, the flooding is also going to get worse. This little burst of lightning tells us these storms are getting stronger and tells us the rainfall rates are increasing. About 1 to 3 inches of rainfall possible per hour within these storms. There's already flash flood warnings up in northwest Georgia and in northeast Georgia. and it's just going to continue to get even worse. Urban flooding on streets, on interstates, on highways, probably also going to get worse over the next couple of hours. Everything, for lack of better words, is starting to go downhill, literally with the water and for the weather, Chesley.
Oh yeah. So we have to be on the lookout for this particular area. Now, no warnings. Again, as of yet, no warnings associated with this cluster of thunderstorms. We're watching it as it continues to push across the border now, moving into Hurd County as we speak. You can see the numerous lightning strikes associated with it, and most of these storms have been stronger over toward the west, and so that's what we've been watching out for. A lot of tornado warnings associated with some of these thunderstorms earlier on. Numerous lightning strikes associated with them as well, and so as we head further into the day, as that front continues to advance over toward the east, we'll be watching for an increased risk for the severe weather, meaning more severe thunderstorms are certainly possible, and also tornado warnings are certainly possible as well. Right now, the only warning that we have is right here. This is for DeKalb County, Forsyth County. It's right there on your screen there. Forsyth County is included in that. Also, Gwinnett County's included in the warning area as we speak. I do want to go back to that to show you what we're looking at in particular. Now, this particular storm is moving to the northeast at about 55 miles per hour, packing winds up to 60 miles per hour. So places like Big Creek in particular, all right, a lot of flooding takes place there easily happens there. And so we'll be watching out for that. Already had some reports of some minor flooding already. Now down through Berkeley Lake, heavy rain continues. Again, watch out for those gusty winds up to 60 miles per hour. Could do some damage, could blow over some weak trees, loose limbs, could certainly fly around. Any kind of debris that's out there could be flying around. Don't need a tornado to get that wind damage, okay? So we'll be watching out for that as well, associated with this severe thunderstorm warning. That extends along I-85, heading back into northern parts of DeKalb County and even into parts of Fulton County as well, central Fulton County, that very heavy rain as this continues to push up to the north. Again, lasting until 8:15 this morning, the severe thunderstorm warning that we've been warning you about. Now, again, you can get these alerts on your phone. It's easy. It's easy, folks. All you have to do is download our weather app, of course, and we made it easy for you. As you can see right there on the screen is a QR code. If you pull out your phone, pull up your camera and point it right at that QR code, the app will pop up instantly on your phone. You'll have it right there. Go to the settings, set it however you want it, for whatever warnings you want to pop up on your phone, any kind of alerts that you want to pop up on your phone. Certainly, the app will do it for you. So you have that. Again, severe thunderstorm warning lasting until 8:15 for parts of Fulton County, DeKalb County, Gwinnett County as well, extends into parts of Forsyth County as well. And so as this continues to push off to the north. Now, before we take a little bit of a break and go to a live cut-in, we do want to get one more check on the roadways out there. Crash, how's it looking right now?
Well, we were getting plenty of reports now of these flooding conditions, and one of the areas that I just called it, and of course now we're looking at it, is 285, and this is going to be westbound near Ashford Dunwoody. So be prepared, folks, because the flooding starting to take place on these major interstates, including 285 westbound near Ashford Dunwoody. We saw this a couple of weeks ago when we had storms similar to this in the area, 400 north and southbound. All of this near those construction areas, the major construction area, I should say, and even across the top end, 285 eastbound. So be prepared. A lot of this runoff comes from all these trucks are clearing areas out there. Of course, they're trying to make these extra lanes, the express lanes and whatnot near the restoration project. So we're going to see a lot of this water running off from those construction areas. Be prepared if you're traveling anywhere across that top end. In fact, flooding reported on 75 in Cobb County from as far up as Barrett Parkway, the 285 eastbound interchange, over to Powers Ferry, over to Riverside Drive. It's just not pretty out there, folks, as this rain continues to come down. Be ready for it. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do one of our network cut-ins in a moment, but in the meantime, we've got plenty of updates for you. Make sure you download that new 11 Alive app. It is free, and you're going to need it, especially on days like today. Chesley and Wes will continue to monitor these weather conditions, and I'll be here with the traffic. We'll be right back.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Chesley McNeil, continuing to keep you updated so that you remain safe during this severe weather threat day for us. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that's now in effect for parts of Fulton County. Forsyth County is included in that, also DeKalb County and into Gwinnett County as well. As you can see, as we go in on this, we're looking at the winds as a major concern right now. Those winds up to 60 miles per hour as this storm system moves further off toward the northeast at about a good 45 to 50 miles per hour. And so be on the lookout. If you live in Lawrenceville, you got light rain over you right now, but this severe thunderstorm is headed towards you. Also over in Snellville, you're not in the severe thunderstorm warning box, but you're in and around that area. So if you live in and around these areas, Flowery Branch, Roswell, be on the lookout for some gusty winds associated with some of the thunderstorms that are in your particular area. Again, the thunderstorm warning will last until 8:15 for DeKalb, Forsyth, Fulton, and Gwinnett counties. That's the only warning that we have in place, but we also have a tornado watch, as you can see with this red box here. That includes the Atlanta metro area southward down through Peachtree City over toward Carroll County as well. We're watching for the potential for tornadoes to pop up in our area. Some brief spin ups certainly possible with some of these storm systems, cells that are coming out of Alabama right now. You can see the numerous lightning strikes associated with it. We'll continue to monitor it as it continues to push into our area. Crash, over to you.
All right, my friend. Yeah, we continue to monitor all the traffic out here, and we're going to replace most of the wrecks with areas of flooding and across the top end perimeter. One area we knew was going to feel some of this rain is 285 westbound near Ashford, Dunwoody. You can see the volume is pretty light right there at Chamblee, Dunwoody, but these are the areas of concern. 285 westbound approaching Ashford and Chamblee, Dunwoody over to 400, of course, 400 north and south, all in the area of the major restoration project. Plenty of flooding reported now along 75 corridor, including the express lanes and across the top end perimeter. So this is going to be a huge situation as this rain continues to come down. Be prepared. For these stories and more, download that new 11 Alive app.
All right, a lot going on here in the weather department, traffic department as well. They all kind of impact one another. Thanks for watching us online. I'm meteorologist Wes Peary. I'm here with meteorologist Chesley McNeil, Crash Clark, Liza Lucas. Nick Sturdivant is also in the field. We are giving you team coverage of a lot of weather that is unfolding. It's very impactful weather. We got all sorts of types of severe weather. We'll start with what is a growing concern, one of the two growing concerns, that is the potential for some tornadoes. We haven't had a tornado warning here in Georgia this morning. We've had one in our two Alabama counties, Randolph and Cleburne, but not yet in Georgia. The Storm Prediction Center has outlined an area, including the city of Atlanta, Peachtree City, LaGrange, Bremen, and really a lot of Fulton County included in this, which has a better chance of seeing tornadoes develop from now and the rest of the morning, really. So if you're watching us from work, if you're watching us from home, you're going to be at home, you're going to be at work. Now is a good time to think of, hey, where should I go in case there's a tornado warning? If you're at home, you need to go to the most interior place in your home. If you're at work, it's probably about the same thing, maybe a stairwell or a basement, a bathroom or something like that. So from now for the next several hours, we're going to be watching this area in particular for the development of tornadoes. That's just one thing we're very worried about. Another thing, which is probably going to be impacting a lot more people. In fact, it already is impacting a lot more people. That's the threat for flash flooding, especially northwest Georgia. Generally, the I-85 corridor and north, we've already seen 2 inches plus in some of these spots. And when you see these bursts of lightning coming out of Alabama and into northwest Georgia, it tells us a couple things. One, these storms are either getting stronger